Okay.
Go for it. Okay, it's the regularly scheduled meeting of the Columbia City Redevelopment Commission. It's January 13, 2026. First item on the agenda, roll call. Carl Sadler, that's me, I'm here. Samara's not, Angela is not. Tad,
I'm here.
Scott,
I'm here.
okay, next item is approval of minutes.
I move we approve the minutes from the December 9th meeting.
Second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. Further comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye, aye, aye. Any opposed? Okay, it carries. Okay, we got the minutes, cap process. They got that, we got that. Also, and you're keeping track of that. Okay, old business. LM&L is still in item, you know, hell, I guess. I don't know.
Idem gel.
Yeah, I don't know that I don't know that there has been anything, and being as how it was Christmas and all that, nothing I'm sure got accomplished, so. It's probably the same as last time. Van Buren, Washington Street lot, nobody moved it, nothing like that.
Still there.
Yeah.
Still there.
Still there, so we got that, so we probably ought to spend some time figuring out what, if anything, we want to do with it, other than hold it.
I want to get rid of the big red elephant in the city before worry about that one.
That's on the
Okay,
back burner for the time being.
all right, that's fine.
Unless someone comes out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
The farmer jail,
Okay, so, Redevelopment Commission, thanks for your support over the past many months regarding the jail. We, after kind of, I won't say soul searching, but I think after a lot of internal conversations and looking at the request for proposal and looking at kind of the interest that we may or may not have been drumming up from a developer standpoint. I think it's been the opinion, I don't want to speak for Chip, but I think it's been our opinion that we maybe consider contracting with a firm that does specific developer outreach for this property to make sure that we get enough proposals or the right kind of developers to utilize that space. So
I had one. So if we could get 2 or 3, it'd be very nice.
So we have so I had a conversation pre-New Year with a company called Veritas Group, who they specialize in doing that. They specialize in recruiting effectively developers for these kind of infill and other kind of development projects. And in consultation with them, they felt like there was some changes that needed to be done to the request for proposal, and that would not only garner more interest, but would better define what it is that we're doing here. And so I'm not asking for any money this time. I have a line item for the jail specifically that I'll be taking out of, but I did want to, so a couple of things that come out of that. So the first is the recommendation by them is to basically cancel the current request for proposal, work on a new one, and reissue it. And the reason for that is because there's some specifics and some language and some things like that didn't necessarily get put into the RFP, which is no fault of Chip's, but it probably needs to be incorporated. And so the easiest way to handle that is to cancel and reissue, if you will. So that's their first recommendation, which we're supportive of. The second recommendation is because of the space and the flexibility of the Redevelopment Commission, is for the property to be quitclaimed from the city over to the Redevelopment Commission. Now, at the end of the day, you guys are already leading this front anyways, so I don't know that it's that big of a deal, but we need to do the official property transfer. So before I did that, and I'll be talking to Board of Works tonight for that specifically, but before we do that, I wanted to make sure that the Redevelopment Commission was okay with taking that property. Again, you kind of already had some ownership of it anyways, but this would make it a little bit more formal. And that then also allows, with the proposal process, allows a lot more negotiating to happen because the Redevelopment Commission has more flexibility in the negotiations than what the city proper does. I know you're an offshoot of the city, but there is difference in language there. So, had multiple conversations with Greg about that. He seems to be okay with it. Carl, I think you and I have had some conversations about that. So, I welcome your feedback on that, but I think the whole purpose is that, let me back up. I think my biggest concern is that we want the jail to not just go to the bidder that ends up coming in, right? Like, we want to make sure that there's a wide net cast. We want to make sure that it's the right balance and the right project for our downtown, because hopefully whatever developer is selected will be there for a long time, and it will add value to our downtown. So I feel like it's really important to cast that wide net, not just in Whitley County or Northeast Indiana, but even across the whole state and the region. So, and that's what Veritas Group really does. So we're going to use their expertise for the redrafting of the request for proposal. We're going to use them for the developer outreach. We're going to use them. We may even have a developer meet and greet kind of thing at the site. So we're still working on the contract language there, but these are the kind of the first two steps we have to take to go down that road. So happy to answer any questions you have.
So I have two questions.
Sure.
For Veritas Group, is
Mhm.
that a fee base or commission base?
It's a fee base,
Fee
yep,
base.
so it's a not to exceed fee, and it's based on time and material, basically. So the amount of hours they put in, which we'll monitor that, obviously, the amount of hours they put in, it's a not to exceed of 10,000 for the totality of what I just described. There is a allowance. The previous contract had a $5,000 allowance for materials and travel and stuff, but in talking to them, it really is going to be 2,000 or less. It probably will be closer to $1,000 for travel and time, but it's based on their hourly rate for the principals and for the people that do it. So I highly doubt we're going to get to that max of 12 grand, if you will. I think we'll be a fair amount below that, but yeah, it's a time and materials.
Okay. And then, are they the only one you're working with, or is there a couple other, or, because Chip had mentioned.
The one developer you're talking about?
And the one
And that falls
developer,
under that then, or?
the one developer I was dealing with actually worked with Veritas Group too.
Okay,
So,
okay.
yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think again, the whole purpose is to cast that wide net, and again, I just have a feeling, and I think I share the feeling with multiple people in this room, that if we cast the net really small, we're not gonna necessarily get the responses we really want. We wanna have options, and we wanna make sure that these firms can do this, because this isn't a small project. It's gonna be a lot of money. And we also want to make sure that if we're involved in some way in that project, it's a partner that has some experience doing that kind of thing. So,
Yeah, I'm in favor of doing that.
What kind of carrying cost are we gonna start incurring on that building?
well, at the moment, the Redevelopment Commission isn't going to be incurring any costs, because I have budgeted for let's say the temporary occupancy of that property. So again, that's part of the reason why I'm coming to you now instead of saying, hey, think about this and then we'll vote on it at the next meeting. I'd really like it voted on here so that we can get moving on that new RFP and get it out. The hope is that we can get the proposals in by probably March or April. It just depends on, I'm leaning to March, but our contracts negotiations have been a little slower than what I'd like because of the holidays. So So anyways, from a carrying cost perspective, right now, I've budgeted for some of the jail cost in this year's budget. So I haven't put that on the RDC yet by any means. And certainly I wouldn't put that on there without your approval, so.
Okay.
Any questions I can answer? Are you guys supportive of of being willing to formally accept that jail property from the city with Carl being effectively the signatory on your behalf after, assuming the city approves it?
Yeah, and so after
Yeah.
that point, the city still, it's still a expense byline through the city. Okay.
Yes.
It sounds like the city's gonna continue to insure it.
Yes.
And maintain it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the things we discussed primarily, Veritas Groups has even more expertise because they do this all the time, and it's a part of what I do. With the flexibility that the redevelopment commission brings to the table as the seller in this versus the city.
Sure.
What the mayor, I think, is looking for would be a motion and a vote to accept the parcels that constitute the old jail property from the city.
Yep.
And to employ these,
Yes.
Well, I honestly, I don't even need your approval to do that unless you guys have some concerns about the RFP. But again, I'm planning to take that on as one of the line items that I have set aside for the jail.
okay.
So I move that we, as presented.
Okay, we have a motion, we got a second.
Yeah, second.
Yeah, that was enthusiastic, second. Yeah, any further discussion?
Where the jail used to be.
Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, it carries.
Thank you.
Great, you got it.
Again, we'll keep working on that. Obviously, it's a high priority for us, and the hope is that we, again, with that wide net, we can get a fair amount of individuals who have an interest in our downtown, so.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the Smith Brothers property. We've had meetings with Ice Miller prior to the first of the year, and the mayor has had a meeting with Kent Smith. And I don't know if you, how many people you shipped that out to, but anyway, apparently things are, Kent's understanding, and he's not in a obviously big rush. So we could proceed forward with it. We have the phase 2 now. But we do need to seek some appraisals of it. And I think today what I would like is the authorization to hunt down a couple of appraisers and get a couple of appraisals of it.
And I'm gonna suggest that Veritas may be helpful in that. They're going to possibly do them for the other ones anyway. Just giving us the names. We would have to probably come back here and specifically appoint them at the next meeting. But if I can get the names, I can have that ready at the next meeting.
For the appraisers?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's gonna be hard to find somebody to appraise that kind of property.
We've got one, possibly.
Yeah,
The second's gonna be,
yeah, so I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, it carries.
Carl, for clarity's sake, you don't need to redo the motion stuff, but for clarity's sake, would you like to take that out of your LML fund? Or do you want to take that out of the railroad TIF? Or where would you like to take that? Because I think you can make a case to say it contributes to the LML site, but you can also say it's a part of the railroad TIF.
My preference would be to take it out of the railroad too, I
That
think, right?
makes sense.
We don't have a whole lot of places to spend that. I think we have more that we can spend on the other one. And Mayor, what we're probably looking for is if you or Chip come up with those two names before the next redevelopment commission meeting, let me know and I can draw up a specific charge to them to do the appraisals.
Okay.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the grant. Building owners have applied for payment for the tuck pointing work that was done on the building. It is complete, they moved all their stuff out, and they spent a lot of money on this thing.
Yeah.
And anyway, they're requesting this one is I think this is for the one side on the west side. And that would be $3,000 if so the work's done, they've submitted the paperwork. So do we approve it and pay it?
So move that we approve and pay
Okay, I think this is a consensus thing, because we've already approved.
Yeah, to issue the payment would be where we're at right now.
Yeah,
So that was Tad, and then Scott, did you say?
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, carries. What do I need to do, just sign it off?
If you just want to sign and write the amount, Leslie will want to see that.
But it is the 13th.
It is the 13th. It's right year and everything on that, girl.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It is good.
I started doing the right year, like on the second, so.
I have several fives that I've turned into sixes, and I think I've got them all in sixes now.
Okay, anybody else have any other old business? Do we have any new business?
I don't know if this falls under new business or other business, but I just realized, and Greg, maybe I'll lean on you for this. Do we need to do nominations and approvals of officers since it's the first meeting of the year?
Absolutely. And I
So that
should've-
probably is something that needs to be done. If you want to keep the same officers or you want
Well,
to change them up, I don't care. But
It is the organizational meeting, and there used to be pretty strict on that, but if it's a situation where you want to wait for the other members, I think we should at least make of record that we postpone that to February.
Unless, because Samara and Angela aren't here, and if they get nominated, they don't have the opportunity to say no.
Even better.
yeah, that's usually when I get nominated.
I think that's all I got in this
One of the
committee.
reasons she showed up.
I've been in a lot of
I think I-
organizations, and trust me, those meetings I attend,
I think I missed that one where I got nominated for this one.
because Angela is the secretary.
Secretary, I think.
I don't know how that works.
So do you want to just table the vote till the next meeting?
It's
It's up to you.
entirely up to you if you want to do that. It is set, it is supposed to happen every year in January.
Well,
at your
unless,
Do it.
organizational meeting, but
They can resign.
That's the spirit.
never thought about that.
it's up to you guys. What I'm saying is if you don't decide not to do the election here, it should at least be in the minutes that you noted that it was to happen and that you delayed it because the other members weren't here.
And I don't think Samara's gonna be here in February, because she's gonna be in Norman.
I don't know.
Is she
But-
in office?
If you're asking my just general opinion.
I don't think so.
Dr. Cotter has been the secretary, there's not a whole lot of duties. I can't imagine that's gonna be a huge problem.
Cotter's gotta be down.
So if you guys are gonna basically just elect the
She's
same
still-
slate, which you could nominate right now.
I move that we keep officers exactly how they are.
Okay, do we have a second?
If I have to.
Okay, you're the only one here that can do it. We have, would
Is that
you
a
read
yes?
back our current officer list, please?
Will I read it off?
Yeah,
Well,
Or do
it's,
you want to, Greg?
Carl is the president,
yeah,
Scott is the vice president, and Angela is the secretary, is my understanding. I'm
That's-
not
that's
seeing
my
that written
understanding.
anywhere. So that was, consider that a motion to elect that slate and close the
Was that a
nominations.
second from Scott?
And I think Scott
I
seconded
guess I
under
did.
duress.
yeah, you
Yeah, I
did.
feel like he's being forced here.
Okay, Shall we vote upon this then? All in favor of maintaining the same current slate of officers? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, carries. We've got officers for
Thank
another
you.
year.
I apologize for.
2 out
not
of
seeing
3 is
that earlier.
pretty, 2 out of 3 is a pretty good win rate, you know? So anyway, that would be new officers. Does anybody else have any other new business? I suppose we ought to probably get with some of the people in town to see if anybody's got any plans for city projects that maybe we could support
Okay,
or be part of
okay,
in the coming year.
okay.
I don't know what else, you know.
Yeah, we can do whatever it is that you want, Mr. Chairman. I will tell you that I think if things go as I anticipate them going, I think there's a good possibility that by the end of the year, that we may need to set up 2 additional TIF districts. One for the Bushy project on the far north side, north of Walmart, and one for a potential apartment complex on the east side of the city. Those things are still being worked out, so I hesitate to be too forthright about everything there, but I do anticipate that we will need to probably set up 2 additional TIF districts and work through some of the financing of utilities and things like that, which we have not traditionally done in our TIF districts, to be fair, although that's, I think, the purpose of why TIF districts were set up originally, but that's not been necessarily our usage of TIF in the city for an extended period of time. So we may need to do a little more re-education of ourselves, that includes myself, of how we go through that process, but I anticipate that by the end of the year, there will be at least 1, if not 2, requests for TIF districts, and sooner rather than later on one of those, I would guess.
Okay.
So, but whatever you want to do, Mr. Chairman, regarding downtown.
I mean,
Events,
you know,
festivals,
Chip,
or-
if you could get with anybody and see if they're,
Yep.
you know, have anything in the works that maybe we should be aware of and
Okay.
that we could support
Yep.
and do something for city.
Regarding the Veritas
Yeah.
group, just
Yeah.
circling back to that,
Yeah.
do you have a, like, rough timeline that that's looking like?
So we're hoping that assuming that I get the contract back from them with the noted changes from Marcia, actually, hopefully it's this week, then the hope is that we can get the RFP refined in the next, let's say, within a week or 2 after that and get it out. Because again, I'd like to have RFPs in front of you at the latest by the April meeting, but preferably in the March meeting. It just may be a little stretch, so.
Okay, just curious, thanks.
Okay.
Proposals, not RFP.
Anybody else have anything they want to bring up?
Can we open it to public comments?
Sure.
Well, because I am the public. So I'm,
You're supposed to be over there.
Are you
No, I'm
okay?
kidding.
meeting with somebody Friday, looking to do something downtown. I guess we're being recorded. I think they're gonna want a loan. The RLF that the EDC has quite a few loans out. We're getting ready to probably do another one. I was gonna suggest the revolving loan here. What do you guys think about that? And if so, how do I work with you or send them to somebody?
I think our point man on that, the last time we did something with it was David, wasn't it?
David Smith.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so he will probably have the best concept of where that is, if you could, if you
Okay.
have contact,
He
reach out
was
to David.
redoing the application.
Yeah, and then what we've done in the past is we've appointed a group that would not be a public group to look over credit and discuss terms, and then make a recommendation back to the full
Okay.
commission.
Thank you.
Anything else? Hearing nothing, shall we adjourn?
Shall-
Okay.